Welcome back to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I said it wrong. He's a retired major general. Totally different. Totally different. But welcome back, everybody, to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes and Dave. Do not forget, if you're a voting member of the NRA, I am running for the board of directors. Make sure that you vote for me. The votes, if you're looking, have it in the magazine, the ballot needs to be in by April the 9th. But if you're coming out to the NRA convention, you can vote for me that day. And also, do not forget, on April the 12th, we're going to have our 14th rally right here. It's the Faith Over Fear, celebrating our veterans and first responders rally. We got 3 performers. We got Captain Robert Cornicelli. We got Joe. We also have NFL player turned pastor, veteran. So it's so many people that are coming up and being added. So if you want to sponsor the rally and you want to sponsor us, y'all get on over there in the chat rooms and do it that way. But when I'm looking at him, and because I like to do a little research on the people that's coming on the show, I always want to say, do you know who you are? When you talk about important people, this is where we could get our knowledge. His name is he's a retired general, Army Major. Paul Valley. Anybody remember our Paul Nally, who was the cream of the crop when it comes to constitutionalists, being a lawyer, being a judge, and he just passed away, rest in peace, at the age of 85. That's where I learned my knowledge. So now we're getting ready to learn it from the real deal. So Dave, if you do not mind, please bring on Major General, please. Hey, what do I call you? Major Paul Valley or Major Valley? I don't know if I need to salute. I ain't never been in the military. What I need to say?
Well, you can call me Paul, but the last name is Vallely. You have to sing it, Vallely.
Valerie, like Valerie, it's
There
Valerie.
you go. There you go. And how did you ever find me in the woods of Montana? I'll never understand that.
Because Stan Fitzgerald and the Veterans for America First, sir, they
Oh,
decided to make me the Georgia Communications Director. And since I had a show, he said, and you're really going to be a ambassador, national ambassador for Veterans for America First, we need for
all
you to
right.
start talking to veterans in the real deal. I want to pick your head with what's going on in our society today, all the way from the terrorist organizations that have been sending back to their countries to all these lawless judges that are, overstepping President Donald Trump, who's the commander in chief. What do you feel about this, and how can Trump bring back our military, our constitution, everything back to a 180 so we can start shouting USA again without terrorists, illegals, and lawless people running our nation?
Well, first of all, thank you for asking me on your show, Lucretia. I'm the chairman of the Stand Up America U.S. Foundation that was formed by General McInerney and I back almost 20 years ago in Washington, D.C. And we primarily focus on national defense, a lot of other issues like the plan we submitted to Trump to rebuild and restructure our military. We developed the plan for Trump for Operation Sinaloa to take down the cartels. Our 6 books that we have out that are on our website, standupamericaus.org. We tied everything together, put all the dots together of how we've had Americans commit treason against our country, dismantle our country, our organizations, our government, and have developed to the left a very mean and mean-spirited, evil left-wing ideologues, which seem to be embedded in the Democratic Party. But we have a few rhinos in there too that
Mm-hmm.
haven't helped. But so we track all of that, and I would ask all your listeners go to our website, Stand Up America US. You got to put the US in there, standupamericaus.org. Beyond Treason, Dismantling of America, all those books lay out. They're really the Bible that Trump has used as well. And we identify those individuals that, not retribution, as many would say, but some people really have to be penalized
Yes.
and for what they've done to this country.
What I mean, because let's just take the last 4 years. Let's do the auto pen. Let's do the auto pen, just the auto pen alone. Alone. Where was the military and why they didn't step in? That is our last defense. And the federal government And the when you take the oath of office is to defend us from foreign and domestic enemies, and we had
That's right.
domestic enemies at the highest level. Why didn't anyone that really took their oath seriously step in and do something?
Well, they all bought into this wokeism and critical race theory, DEI, and all this stuff. The generals and admirals we have, we really haven't won a war since World War II, and they folded into this left-wing ideology, and none of them ever stood up. I mean, even the surrender in Afghanistan,
Wow.
$85 billion worth of equipment, and then the 13 wonderful Americans that we lost there in Afghanistan in the last day. But certainly the inability to protect our borders, allow millions of illegals and gang members to come across our border. Uh, and so finally, America said, wait, we have to wake up here. We're losing our country.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to put Donald Trump back in there. And he's gonna resurrect our country. He's gonna build it back again, and that's what he's doing.
Yes, sir.
And I'm very supportive of what he's doing.
Well, that's my president. But one of the things that I was looking at, and because I'm a military family, I mean, across the board, someone in every generation, two, three, four of them, has been in some part of the military branch. And they were so frustrated. Even my brother, who is a Marine, he said even though he's out, it made him so angry the way they disrespected the flag, disrespected our military, and it was like the higher ups did not even care anymore. How did they disrespect our military but was wanting to bring the UN peacekeepers on our soil, and because our military was hand tied?
Well, they distorted, but here again, if you look at the last 4 years, and it really started under Biden, I mean, Obama, when he basically got rid of 120 senior officers because they didn't fall in line with his left-wing ideology. So I blame Obama for a lot of the degradation and the decline in our military. And certainly the generals and admirals like General Milley, to me, he needs to be brought back and charged with treason and sent to Guantanamo, for goodness sakes, or someplace. But we proudly have new officers going to be the head of our military, and they're going to replace all of those. They haven't gone down the list yet completely, as you know, Lucretia. Pete Hegseth started with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force general, but he's the one that said we need more black pilots in our military. Listen, we've had a lot of great black pilots, but they've earned it. Wookie Mocker, for example, Air Force Academy. Wookie was a great brigadier general. And the blacks have proved themselves over the years. I mean, when I was in Vietnam, Lucretia, I was a company commander of the 101st Airborne. 45% of my company was either Latino or black. We didn't have any problems then. I mean, we all were together, the brotherhood. It didn't matter what color your skin was. So now we're back to merit-based promotions and hiring and so on. That's what it should be. You have to earn your way.
How do we
So I
get all
think
them
with that
back?
now, we see an increase in recruiting and retention. We're now focused on war fighting, building our defense back again. We've given up so much ammunition and weapons to Ukraine, for example. We've drained a lot of our resources. The same thing that happened, $85 billion worth of equipment, supplies, helicopters, fighters, guns that we left in Afghanistan. And so when you look at this and you find out a lot of misspent money, and Doge under Elon Musk, they haven't even gone into the Pentagon yet to find all the misuse of money there. They've gone to a lot of defense contractors, and there's going to be a lot. He's going to have a lot to deal with when he goes into the Pentagon, let alone the rest of the branches of government. But we're on the right track now, and God's behind us. I thoroughly believe that. And it inspired many of Americans now that we're saying we're going to stand up. We're going to live by the creed of duty, honor, country that I learned at West Point, that I abided by. We're going to get back. If you look at our book, Lucretia, called America's Endgame for the
Yes.
21st Century, the first chapter is the spiritual awakening of America.
I think we're
That is
having that.
getting back to trust, integrity, and honesty with each other, not making decisions based on partisan politics, but make decisions based on reality. And that's one of my other books. It's called Reality Prism, where we look through a reality prism to solve our problems, not through partisan politics. So, Lucretia, it's all a way of thinking. It's your judgment. It's what you believe in. You don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal. You see all these people on television lying all the
And cheating
time
and
in
stealing.
their interviews, and it's that's what's frustrating to many Americans. But also, Lucretia, a lot of Americans are busy. In your lower middle classes, they're working every day. I mean, they're out there driving trucks, or they're drilling, or building homes, or whatever. They don't have time to look at the news maybe like you and I do every day.
Well,
And so there's a
I
lot
think
of information that we have an obligation to pass to our neighbors and others about what's really going on, not propaganda, but
Well,
real
I
things.
think that's the problem. When they shut us down in 2020 all the way to 2023, what they didn't shut down was our knowledge, our hunger for information. Now, they might have ruled the world when it came to mainstream media and legacy media, but what they did not do was shut down the internet. Now, they shut down our lives, they shut down our world. Now, when you are from a country that is the rat race, you get out there and you work 24/7, if necessary, to get that white picket fence. When you shut down the world, but you leave all the information out there, that is when we started seeing the revival. That's when we people started really digging in and finding the truth. And this is, I always say, and I'm starting saying this, there's 80 million American Trump supporters. There's not 80 million GOPers. So they looked at Trump as being that America first, putting America first, put our military, put everything back on the forefront, and that's why we won. So when it came to the clock shot, I call it the scamdemic, and they started firing and letting go all of this military and pilots and different things that did not want to take the shots. How can
Right.
we get these soldiers back? And do you think they want to come back?
Well, they did offer to bring back, I think it was over 60,000, maybe a little more than that. Some of them did come back, Lucretia, as I understand, but a lot of them said, well, I'm not going to go back. So you've had a little bit of both, but certainly recruiting is up now in the Army, Air Force, and Navy, and Marines. They're going to probably bring the Merchant Marine over and put it under the Pentagon. That may be a new move from where it's located right now. But we got to rebuild the academies. Again, I look at West Point where they were teaching all the CRT, DEI stuff, and they brought in a lot of liberal professors from the Ivy League schools, particularly into West Point, and they distorted all this. They got away from building lawyers. And when they did that, they started going to a lot of the social things. And West Point, by the way, is the oldest engineering school in
Mm-hmm.
America. It was founded in 1802 by George Washington and John Adams. And they basically built it as the first engineer school for the Revolutionary Army. But since that time, and we got in a lot of liberal superintendents up there, and they started bowing to these left-wing professors that they put on the faculty. So now we're working. We've started the MacArthur Society, named after General MacArthur, to rebuild West Point again and build it back to the traditions and values of duty, honor, country.
Now you spoke of Obama. We are realizing in the last week, couple of days, you've had Obama appointed judges or judges that has stepped in and halted a lot of Trump executive orders, especially when it came to flying those illegal gang members back to wherever they came from, and they pretty much wanted them to turn them back around. Isn't that treasonous?
Well, it's out of bounds. The judges in the country aren't responsible for what's going on our borders. All they are, judges are just lawyers with a black robe. They're no more than that. And so they're easily swayed by money uh, when they run for election. And so many of them that are in there now are leftovers from Obama and, of course, Biden. And they're trying to basically use their law wherever their districts are, federal judge or district judge, to try to influence the President of the United States, who is the only one elected by the people to protect America, secure America. And that's what he's doing. So they're all going to fall off the edge there. They're not going to get the way. I think the executive branch will stay in charge of our security and policing up all the illegal gang members and deporting them, making them go. It's even the young man, you know, I said was up in Columbia there was supporting Hamas against the Jewish students. And so they locked him up in Louisiana. So here's what I would do with all of them, Lucretia. I said, okay, you self-deport tomorrow or you're going to Guantanamo. That's your choice.
That's it. And they would, well, you see a lot of them if you are reading the news, even Fox, even though I don't watch television and haven't watched television since 2016, it seemed like Trump and Trump administration is give them the ability and the option, hey, you leave before we come and get you. It's that
That's
simple.
right.
You might have a chance to come back here legally the right way, but if we catch you, you're banished forever. But when it comes to the military, when do they step in?
Well, they are stepping in already. We have, I think it's 10 Special Forces Group is already in Texas. I mean, they've gone from Texas into northern Mexico to work with the Mexican marinas. We're conducting overhead surveillance of the 5 provincial areas where the cartels are located. We're watching them now. We're identifying where the fentanyl factories are. I suspect that we'll move forward with some kind of a military operation in the next month or so to completely destroy their nest down there in the 5 provincial areas near Sinaloa, only 4 or 5 hours south of our Texas border, by the way. So the plan that we gave Trump was both offensive and defensive. Uh, make solid our border, make sure we don't have any illegals coming over. If they come over legally, fine, but they can't come over illegally. As well as a offensive operation, as we call in the military, conduct a special operations 2 o'clock in the morning. We can knock the cartels out in 7 to 10 days. They're gone. Out of business.
I gotta ask you about the ceasefire with Putin and Ukraine. What is your specialties on that one? Even you could go all the way back to 2021 when this first started in March, and how it has dragged on, and plus us giving Ukraine or Zelensky all this weapons, over $200 billion, and now he's wanting nuclear warheads. What do you think about that whole debacle over there?
Well, it's a money laundering operation, number one. We made a lot of people rich. Zelensky's supposedly he's bought 6 different estates in London, Miami, France. The oligarchs, 4 or 5 of them, are the ones that run Zelensky. He's only a puppet. Uh, Putin warned them, don't try to push NATO on our border. Don't try to make Ukraine a NATO country. We're not going to tolerate it. And that started back in 2014 or earlier. And so when they did the elections in the 4 provincial areas in eastern Ukraine, they're ethnically Russian. They're pro-Russian. The Azov Battalion, I'm not sure whether you're familiar with them or not, that's the Nazi, N-A-Z-I,
Yes.
Nazi Azovs. Actually, they're a brigade, and they're the most vicious forces that Ukraine has, and they use them. And the Azovs bombed and killed, murdered, wounded thousands of Ukrainians in eastern Ukraine. Now they knew that. That's why they wanted to go under the shield of Russia. So these things are not told. Another interesting thing about this, you never see on television or radio an interview of a Russian. It's always the
Sure isn't.
Europeans, the French, the English, or whatever. And you know, like President Moroni said in Italy, I'm not sending any of my Italian soldiers there to fight. And so now we have a ceasefire. There were some drones that were sent by Ukraine into some Russian targets, depots, within the last 24 hours. Putin and Trump have agreed on a ceasefire for 30 days. So that's in motion now. So hopefully within the next 24 hours, there's no firing of any drones, bullets, artillery, or whatever. So we'll see what happens by tomorrow.
I think little Pocket Man, because we got our little Rocket Man. That's Kim Jong Un. So I call Zelensky because his pockets are so fat with our money. He's a little pocket man because he always got his hands out somewhere.
Oh
Now, let's talk about
yeah.
Victoria
As he
Nuland.
runs around the globe in his pajamas.
Yes, Victoria Nuland, the CIA, and the
Neocon.
infiltration of every. When is a nation actually going to be looking at us because of the CIA and the destruction? They have been meddling in so
Yeah.
much stuff for the last
Oh,
50 years, and
yeah.
nothing has happened.
Well, that's right. Look at all the unnecessary wars we've been in. I mean, I was in Vietnam twice. I served 2 tours over there, but the Vietnamese were never a threat to the United States. That was a conjured war up by Lyndon Baines Johnson and what they called the Gulf of Tonkin incident over there. And that initiated putting 500,000 of our troops over there. By the way, we lost 78,000 killed
Killed.
and several hundred thousand wounded. And then you had George W. Bush went into Iraq under the guise of the WMD. Iraq was never a threat to the United States. They couldn't conduct any operations against continental United States. So that was a conjured up war again. And Afghanistan, we could have had that done basically within several months. And we basically did, because I was with Fox News at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So in October, November of 2001, I think 2001, we had 100 special ops CIA guys and B-52s completely wiped out the Taliban, 10,000 of them, sent them across the border into Pakistan. We had a Afghan Major General there called Dostrom, General Dostrom. We should have turned the war over to him and say, okay, we've run Taliban out. General, it's your show now. We'll give you support if you need it, but we're out of here. And we'd have been out of there. And I said that January 2002 on Fox News we should have done. But we had mission creep, as they call it, for the next 20 years. And then look at all the young men and women
Yes.
lost their limbs over there, killed or lost their limbs, injured, and so on.
I got two
So,
questions for you. One for myself and one for my husband. His
sure.
granddaddy was a drill sergeant for the Army. He said, "Where did you do basic training? And do you remember your drill sergeant, instructor?"
I graduated from West Point in 1961, went to the infantry basic course in September of 1961, followed by the airborne school and the ranger school. And so then I went to jump master school, and then I went to the 82nd Airborne in Europe for 3 years, then to Vietnam in the 101st, and so on. So the first sergeant, no, I should say my platoon sergeant, I remember was Sergeant Donovan. Remember him to this day. I'm 85 years old, but I remember Sergeant Donovan. He was my first platoon sergeant.
My dad served in Panama. I always thought my dad served in Vietnam, but when he was there, he was only 19, 20, 20. My dad was young, young. What was Panama like?
Well, I never served in Panama.
In
Uh,
Vietnam?
they sent the infantry division from Fort Ord down there at the time. I was in Sixth Army. I think I was a major then, Major Lieutenant Colonel. I can't remember so far back. But no, I never served in Panama.
How was it going to Vietnam? Now we see documentaries, and I can only because I was born in '74, so I'm only 50. But seeing these documentaries and something I didn't get to ask my dad when he was in the Navy and my real father that was in the actual Army. What
Mm.
was it about that they refused to tell their offspring? What did they see that scarred them
Well,
that they didn't want to share?
well, it was the same thing. World War II veterans, they never wanted talked about it. My father-in-law, my wife's father, he parachuted into Normandy, and he never really wanted to talk about it to the family, because you have a lot of bad memories of your fellow soldiers that were wounded or killed next to you, and you wonder why you weren't killed. I had the last shot fired at me was 6 inches in front of my left foot. They were trying to take me out, and I remember that. But it was the same thing in Vietnam. What are you going to talk about? I mean, people don't understand war if they've not been in it. And so it brings back a lot of memories. And that's probably why we don't like to talk about it that much.
Well, I don't want to go to war, sir, with because of a frivolous ego trip, and that's
Right.
either with Afghanistan, Syria, even if it's Ukraine. And I don't, I really, and I guess I'm selfish. I love my nation. I love my children and our soldiers more than I don't want them to be unfortunate sons. Do you think with President Trump really trying to talk peace with Ukraine, talk peace around the world, that to get us out of these frivolous wars when the Congress have not declared not one, do you think he can actually do it?
Yes, he can. Yes, he can do it. And you can do it because you make a decision that you're not going into another unnecessary war. Now, if they're attacking our country like the cartels have been attacking us with weapons and fentanyl killing hundreds of thousands of our young people, they have to be taken out. Trump will do that because it's an immediate threat to America. Now, if China or somebody starts conjuring up some kind of a movement where they're going to fire nuclear weapons on the United States, and we have intelligence that'll lead up to that, then preemptively we should take out those targets because again, the Constitution, we're here, and even the oath we take in the military is to protect America and America's citizens. That's what it's about. It's not going into protect Ukraine or protect North Vietnam or Iraq, all those things in the Middle East that we got involved in. And none of those had anything to do with a threat to the United States. None of them.
So
We,
that
we
is
do have
the
threats, of course, from Kim Il Jong with all his nukes,
yep,
China.
yep.
I think Russia's less of a threat. I think they'd rather be friendly with us and work with us economically. And Trump's the man that can do that. He's doing it right now. He's going to have the truce. Then he'll meet with Xi in China and probably Kim Il Jong again. He hasn't been acting up too badly lately. So I think he understands America has a strong leader again.
How do
With
we?
Biden, they could do anything.
Oh, they still trying to sabotage everything. What do you? How can Trump stop the military-industrial complex?
Well, first of all, I think Pete Hegseth in his book he goes over that, and he's got some very good people he's bringing in as secretaries of the Army, Air Force, and Navy, and so on. And now with some of those people, they are the experts in contracting. So we have to make sure we're looking to the future, to our readiness. We know we need a lot more ships. Our ships are in bad shape. We need shipbuilding back in the United States. So we know our Navy is probably the worst it's been since World War II, when we had to build a lot of those frigates and cruisers and aircraft carriers and so on. We know we have to rebuild and restructure our military so it's more efficient, and we can't cater to making these defense contractors rich all the time. And we've done that by going into all these wars overseas, unnecessary wars. A lot of them have made a lot of money, including many of our Congress people.
Yes. Okay. So, because you got to come back, we could keep talking, and I really do. But we have 2 minutes left. Everybody, this is. Hold on, let me get it right, because I want to salute, but I can't do it right. But we're gonna go ahead and say this as I sit up in my chair. Everybody out there, this is retired United States Major General of the Army, Paul Valley. I
Lee,
was almost Lee. Valley
Vallely.
Valley, and his website is Stand Up America US.org. Did I say that right?
You did good. You did good.
So you get the last 2 minutes. Go ahead and just end us out and let everybody know where to find you at your books in game, because we didn't even talk about the end game. We didn't even talk about the other 5 books. So I have to get back in contact with Stan and tell him put you back on, because I want to really know why you and your partner even just decided to even write the end game. But go ahead, sir, and let everybody know again about your website, where they can find you if they have any
Yeah.
questions, or where they can even watch you out there. Go ahead.
Stand Up America US Foundation. The website is standupamericaus.org.
Mhm.
Our books are there. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. Comes out every Saturday and again on Tuesday morning. We have really a great staff of people. You can donate, help us out. We always appreciate donations to support what we're doing. We've been around for over 20 years. We have probably the best intelligence network of any organization in America. We get feeds out of Europe, out of the Far East, South and Central America. So we're pretty well connected to what's going on in the world. And from that, we're able to put that out in information to the people that are part of the U.S. Stand Up America U.S. Foundation. But thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And Dave, make sure you text Stan and say again, again. We want him again. Okay, thank you, sir. You have a blessed night. Everybody else, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay.
I like him. I like him, Dave.